So here we go, the Screaming Eagle with the green flag in hand, and the final race of the weekend, officially off and rolling. Look at the start from Cody Gilmore, executing to perfection.
Beautiful start. He is out in front, looking very strong. Wants to get an early lead and try to get through this race in one piece, as all these guys are going to be pushing hard up behind him. It is what a riders right back there. Wow.
Well, and I tell you what else is impressive. Drew Jankert able to stay in that number 2 spot through turns 1 and 2. By that point in our last race, Jake Masters had already made a pass out of our Pirelli Pro Stock class. So we'll see whether or not Jankert maybe can get a little more comfortable on this big bagger and be able to battle with the likes of Gilmore and Masters. Looks like he's doing it. Right now, he's stuck in the middle of the two of them.
He's about a 0.28 seconds behind, looking really strong, just following the similar lines to Cody Gilmore.
So as they run on your screen right now with our Wild Boar Audio live drone, it is Cody Gilmore out front leading the way on that Suburban Motors Harley-Davidson Bridgestone back ride, and then behind him is Drew Jankert on that Alloy Art back machine. And then it is the Pirelli Pro Stock leader of Jake Masters, also on that Suburban Harley-Davidson Motors Sly Fox back, number 9, that is starting to give Drew Jankert a little bit of pressure for the number 2 spot. They get ready to head into turn 13 for our opening lap complete, and Masters already starting to peek to the insides and outsides, trying to find a way around Jankert, probably because he knows he's got the likes of Braun just behind him.
Absolutely. He is looking for that position. He is trying to set up the pass, getting ready, because he knows Clay is going to be coming up hard on him, and he is trying to get as far ahead as possible.
So it looks like it is now Clay Braun who is taking over the number 4 spot. Danny Spina shuffles back to the number 5 position. So those two battling it out, as Braun, we know, wants to get in front of the number 9 of Masters. You see a little look over the shoulder from the 9 of Masters, trying to find out exactly who that is behind him, as Clay Braun been a little bit, I want to say a dark horse role, if you will. He had those issues in our opening weekend, going down, unable to race on day 2. So Clay Braun kind of in a spoiler position, if you will, between our 2 Pirelli Pro Stock 1 and 2 in points, which is Jake Masters and Danny Spina.
He is hunting for a podium, and he is very, very focused. Talking to him this week, he is ready to go and wants to be on the top of that podium, and is going to do whatever it takes to get there. We're going to see some great racing from him. But, as you said, he's got to catch up to Jake Masters just in front of him, who's running a little less than a second ahead.
We're watching. Whoa, hang on to it. Jake Masters gets a big shake coming out of turn 12. Had to roll off the throttle big time, as he is pushing hard to try to find a way around Drew Jankert. And this is one of those balancing acts that we talked about, Dave. Not in the same class, Drew and Jake, but how hard do you push to try to physically get in front of that rider, especially when you know that the competition in your class is right behind you. But wait a second, look at this. Clay Braun and Danny Spina almost touching as they make their way through turn 1. Looks like Braun able to hang on to it as they exit turn 2.
Yes, a great pass, then a pass back, and tremendous battle right there. And yes, you're right, they were bar to bar, and just for a few seconds, they're doing incredible speeds going into these curves, and to be that far apart is incredible. You got to have a lot of control.
Yeah, well over 120 miles an hour making their way through turns 3 into 4. And Danny Spina at about a $125 makes the pass happen. He's on that National City Harley-Davidson Moto detailed back ride. He's been fired up, and man, that opening weekend, we really saw a new sense of belonging from Danny Spina. He feels like he's got great backing, he's got a great machine underneath him, and he's got what he needs physically as far as the rider himself to put it on the top step of the podium. He doesn't just want to finish in the number 2 spot, he wants to go chase after Jake Masters. But look at that, it looked like Clay Braun actually cut it back underneath him, and Braun makes the pass back once again. So the battle on screen you're watching is between 2 and 3, which is Drew Jankert and Jake Masters, and then, whoa, and a big get off for Clay Braun, I think once again. Oh, in that same turn 12. Oh man, that was a horrendous crash as Braun high-sided up and over that machine, and he got spit onto the ground hard.
Wow, that was horrific. just lost it. He was pushing it to the limit and just a little bit beyond. Oh, I hope he's okay. He's laying down, trying to get his senses back with him. What a shame to have that. We were having a battle there with Danny Spina.
Man, they were going back and forth, and we knew turn 12 was one of those tricky corners. 11 sets up 13, as it does look like the red flag going to come out for this one. Not only Clay going down, but debris out on the track as well. So safety, the top priority here in the Bagger Racing League. So the red flag going to come out. The rider's going to cease racing immediately, and our staff and safety crew going to get out to Clay Braun as soon as possible, and hopefully the 951 physically going to be all right after what was a nasty crash there in turn 12.
And keep in mind, after Chuck Walla, they had taken that bike down to the frame and actually put a new suspension on it that raised it 3 inches for Hastings, and totally redid the bike. Lots of work done by their crew chief, Josh, and tremendous work that they did on that. They were very, very excited about this bike. It just had instant power at all speeds, and really, really sad for that to come about.
Well, let's take a look at exactly what happened for the 951 of Clay Braun. Watch in the center of your screen. That back end starts to step out, Dave, and when it finally did hook up, it was a little bit too far. A high side in the air goes Clay Braun, and quickly found that MPH asphalt shortly after. We did see some staff working or walking their way up to Clay Braun. It looked like he was holding that right arm. We know he damaged his hand and finger in his crash at our opening weekend as well. So Braun, I know he said he was pretty close to 100%, but gotta think still a little beaten and bruised up from that opening weekend crash. Now finds himself on the ground once again.
Yes, and as we mentioned, still kind of getting used to this new setup on the bike. Just had great speed.
To our crew there at MPH Motorsports Park Hastings for helping get this cleaned up. Once again, watch that third rider on your screen. Back end steps out, and it was all over but the shouting at that point. Clay Braun just along for the ride, and unfortunately found himself thrown into this MPH asphalt at a high rate of speed. Have not heard any updates on Clay. I did see him kind of looks like maybe nursing one of the possibly his right arm when the first folks came up to him to check in on him. But all in all, it did look like he was somewhat okay. Probably a little banged up, but one thing's for sure, Clay Braun, we know the guy's absolutely tough as nails.
And having the protective gear that they all wear
Yes.
is so incredibly important. And whether you are riding on the street or wherever you're at, you should be wearing great protective gear. Obviously, these racers are using some of the best in the business, and hopefully he's looking good.
Absolutely. And yeah, that's a great point that you bring up there, Dave, as far as the safety equipment. That is, we talk a lot about the accessibility as far as the bikes that you can ride and that you can bring. Well, that is one thing that we do take serious. There's no wiggle room on that whatsoever. There are certain requirements as far as safety equipment goes, whether that's leathers, helmet quality, and these riders all have to go through tech inspection. They've got to bring their helmets, bring their leathers to show, hey, this is high quality safety equipment, because we know we're going to be pushing the envelope. We're going to be in high speeds, intense conditions. And so, yes, there's an inherent dangerous risk to racing. We all know that when we line up, but at the same time, Bagger Racing League and all of their partners do a great job of ensuring as safe as possible we want our riders to be.
Absolutely. You gotta dress for the slide, not the ride. So you gotta make sure, just in case something does happen.
Well, and Dave, you know all about that. I know you're closer working there with Shark Law, and you guys get to see it not on the track but out on the street. And honestly, sometimes I think that might be even more dangerous than we have out here racing on the track.
Having experienced it myself and found myself bouncing down the 5 freeway once, yes, I can guarantee the proper equipment is so incredible. The only reason I was able to walk away and not be a speed bump out there was because of the proper safety gear.
Well, it's great to see that all of our riders do take that just as seriously as we do, is now releasing our riders off into that warm-up lap. Like we said, they will be recreating off of the running order on track. So just to give you an idea, the last game across the track, Cody Gilmore was out with Luke Jankert in the number 2 spot. Jake Masters in the number 3 spot. Then we saw Clay Braun in that 4th place position. That will now go to Danny Spina. Tony Salima will move up to the 5th place spot. Travis Wurz, Tony Tucker, Brendan Foley, Craig Braymiller, and Jake McGuire will be your top 10 on the grid as they line up. And like we said, this was originally an 8-lap race. Now, after this, we're going to drop it down to a 6-lap restart. And, man, these riders, like we talked about, having to kind of put things out in the back of their mind, not think about it too much. And I would be curious to think what's going through the minds of somebody like a Danny Spina right now, who had a front row seat for that wild ride for Clay Braun.
Absolutely. You've got to make sure that is completely forgotten. And not only that, you've got a horrific crash that you just watched, but now your race, your opportunities to lead that race have gone from 8 laps to 6. Which makes it a little more intense, and you've got only 6 laps to make your point and take that podium.
Yeah, absolutely. It's the sense of urgency just got a little bit more, and so we'll have to wait and see. Now, if you are somebody like maybe a Danny Spina, nobody wants to see any of our riders hit the ground, but this could be a blessing in disguise because he was locked in that battle with Clay Braun and was starting to lose touch with Jake Masters, who was battling with Drew Jankert out of our Andrews Bagger GP class. So Jankert and Masters have kind of gotten away a little bit, and we know that Jake Masters 3 points ahead of Danny Spina in that Pirelli Pro Stock class. So now Spina getting a little bit of a second chance, regrids just behind Jake Masters, and going to try to latch himself to the back of the number 9, possibly even try to find a way around.
Danny Spina is one of the most positive racers in the paddock, and so I'm sure that he is realizing his opportunity right now and is going to take full advantage of it as soon as we drop the green flag.
And I tell you who else seems to be kind of realizing what they're capable of is that man right there on cue, the number 11 of Drew Jankert. He was not really even close to Cody Gilmore yesterday, still trying to get comfortable on that machine. But, man, does he seem to have found something here today. Was not too far, only 3.7 seconds off of Cody Gilmore on that last lap just before the red flag came out. So we'll see whether or not he's able to keep it maybe even a little closer than that as we're watching Tony Salima on that number 12 ride, Danny Spina just beside him. And there we go. The visor's down. The Screaming Eagles got the green flag, and we are back racing. Here we go, race 4, off and rolling.
Wow.
And just like before, Cody Gilmore, a rocket ship off that grid.
He just took off like a shot and got a great position. He loves that fresh air out in front and looking great going through turn 2. Beautiful lines and everybody following behind.
Yeah, Cody Gilmore almost using a little motocross technique there. Looked like he was leaving the feet off of the pegs early. Kind of had his feet dragging there, keeping the front end weighed down, hard on the throttle, and that rocketed him off the grid into the number 1 spot. It looked like Jake Masters, who's got a little off-road experience as well, was able to sneak around into that number 2 spot in front of Drew Jankert. So it is Gilmore, followed by Masters, then Jankert, then the 199 of Danny Spina in the number 4 spot.
Looking good coming through these turns. They are trying to set up the person in front of them with the pass. You can see each one taking their own separate lines, coming down close to the edges right there on those turns, just trying to keep Cody Gilmore in sight.
Yeah, watching right now, Gilmore already trying to set free from the pack. Meanwhile, Drew Jankert applying the pressure to Jake Masters, and these two were wheel to wheel for the entire race before that red flag came out. They were in a fight just as close as Clay Braun and Danny Spina, but now, look at this. Oh, Jankert tries to force the issue up the inside. We know how technical that turn 13 is. So he showed him a wheel, but wasn't quite able to get the drive coming out of that corner. Meanwhile, Danny Spina, once again, he's got the popcorn and drink. He's got a front row ticket to the show for the number 2 position right now.
Looking really good coming through that turn. That turn 13 is a very difficult place to try to actually make a pass. Almost was able to do it, but just couldn't pull it off.
So back down the backstretch they go once again, out of turn 2 through 3 and headed into that far side of the track. Turn 4, where the rider's really, really hard on those brakes. You can see a perfect example right there is Jankard able to leave off the brakes just a bit longer than Jake Masters and close right back up to the rear wheel. So Jankard, again, these two riders not in the same class, the 99 out of that Andrews Bagger GP class and the number 9 out of the Pirelli Pro Stock class, but nonetheless, they're battling physically on the track.
And that's a great motivation, especially if you know you're ahead of the class and the guy in front of you is in a different class. You want to be able to stay as close and beat him if you can, just out of racer motivation. And it's important to do that. You want to make sure if you're able to stay with somebody in a higher class, you know you're probably beating everybody else in your own.
Well, and just like you talked about earlier, this is kind of the next step as far as racing with classes above you, watching possibly Tony Tucker and Brendan Foley go at it. So the number 29 of Brendan Foley, he is on Jake Masters' undefeated bike from last year in our Barnett Super Street class. He's doing some battle with Tony Tucker right now. But like you said, the next step is going to be to that Pirelli Pro Stock class where we currently find Jake Masters in the number 1 spot. He's chasing after what would be the next step for him, the Andrews Bagger GP class, and chasing Cody Gilmore. So like the next 3 levels for these guys are all out on track right now, when even if you're winning, you can still be learning and getting better.
And it helps you to judge when it is right to actually jump to the next level. And so you kind of get a feel of how you are riding according to other people in the next class up. It's a great opportunity to see where you are as a rider. That's very important.
Absolutely, as Masters has been able to shake Drew Jankard just a little bit as far as pressure goes, so not having to protect those lines quite as much, not glancing over the shoulders for the moment as we watch the number 9 of Jake Masters, the Australian, going to be bringing the BRL down under later this year for BRL Australia. And man, talk about another rider that has really just seemed to fall in love with the process of becoming a better BRL racer. Masters putting on a master class right now, no pun intended, in that Pirelli Pro Stock class.
He is looking very, very smooth, and one of the most personal guys in the paddock. Everybody loves him. He is a crowd favorite, and he is the perfect ambassador to take it down to BRL in Australia.
Yeah, we are so lucky to have such good ambassadors of the sport. I know you talked about that yesterday, Dave. These athletes, they take it serious. They know they have a responsibility much more than just to perform on the track. They're a representation of the series, of their sponsors off the track. And whether you're talking about Cody Gilmore, Jake Masters, Clay Braun, whether you're talking about Brendan Foley, all of these guys do such a great job of showing you, yes, this is an intense sport. We're putting in a lot of time, effort, work, finances, but this is also a ton of fun, and it's a welcoming environment for new racers to come and try it out.
It's not just about individual achievement. It is about the betterment of the league and sharing this with more and more people and getting more people involved, because that is just what not only makes the sport grow, but it makes it more fun. And as we are all a part of the evolution of this league, it is a responsibility for all of us to put its best foot forward and to show what Bagger Racing League truly is, and amazing as what it's going to become.
Absolutely, yeah. Taking a look on your screen just behind the number 8 of Carl Schlack, looks like that's Emilio Jimenez, Jake McGuire, and Travis Wurz going at it for the Super Street Bagger class, our Barnett Clutches and Cables Super Street class. And these guys, wheel to wheel to wheel, like we said, maybe a little further back in the pack physically, but they are racing for the top of the podium there in that Super Street class. And peeking to the inside, we saw McGuire get a little off-road excursion earlier in the day today. It looks like he's got some things figured out as he is putting the pressure on Emilio Jimenez just in front of him.
He really is, and he is trying to take the outside there, just, got cut off.
Yep, Jimenez closes the door.
Back down. Yes, he did.
Sounds like
right
they will
again
be
on the
getting
outside.
White flag the next time around. So Jimenez takes a little look over the shoulder, sees McGuire there. Oh, look at this. McGuire now got the inside here through turn 11. Going to fade in turn 12. Oh, man, we see how hard these guys are pushing in turn 12 right there where Clay Braun went down. And a little look over the shoulder. Take a look at this. that might actually be Wurz making a pass up the inside. So McGuire thought he was making a pass, wound up getting past as they make their way to the white flag.
Truly incredible racing there. And you can see these guys are pushing so hard, these baggers are wiggling as they come out of these braking situations, and just they are so hard on the brakes. And this is an 800-pound machine. When that thing starts to wiggle, it can be scary.
Yeah, not something that you can just manhandle and get to stop. As we saw, sometimes you're just along for the ride, and looks like McGuire possibly able to make a pass, and it looks like possibly just now the white flag coming out. So maybe that was not the white flag for that Super Street battle that we saw, which means they may have 2 laps still left to duke it out.
It's going to be
wait and see here, trying to see exactly where our leader's at. There is Cody Gilmore as he is on the final lap of racing for your Andrews Bagger GP class.
And he is running consistently 131s, which is incredible on a track like this, on a bike of that size. It's truly remarkable, and the consistency is what is the most important part of Cody Gilmore's racing.
Yeah, absolutely. He's on the Suburban Motors Harley-Davidson Bridgestone back ride, and like we said, didn't quite see the consistency or comfort that we had come to know and expect from Cody Gilmore. Undefeated in the 2024 season, moves up to that Bagger GP class, and did not really seem like he was grooving with that bike. I'll put it like that in our opening weekend, but man, they've worked the gremlins out, the kinks out, and man, this is smooth like butter, as they like to say. Cody Gilmore making his way around on this final lap.
He is making Uncle Slider and the whole family proud right there, so he is doing a great job just riding consistent, riding within himself, and within that bike, he is looking smooth, as you said, as butter.
Well, he did what he needed to do. He got the start, stayed clear of all the drama, and it will be Cody Gilmore grabbing the win in your Andrews Performance Products Bagger GP class on the 374 machine. The battle is still on. Look at this. Looks like Jankard might have forfeited that second and now third place spot as well, as Jake Masters will cross the line in the number 2 spot. Danny Spina, I believe, going to get that number 3 position, and Drew Jankard just behind him.
Wow, that was so close. Danny Spina coming up. Beautiful ride from him to actually take that 3rd position, and that was impressive.
Absolutely, so much fun to watch, and looks like that will be Jake Masters grabbing the win out of your Pirelli Pro Stock Bagger class. And making our way through, there is the 736 of Jason Owens on that Tucker Speed back ride. And we'll wait to see if Brendan Foley can keep the undefeated streak alive out of that Barnett Super Street class.
That bike hasn't seen taillights yet, so it's pretty impressive.
Absolutely, yeah, undefeated for over a year now, through multiple riders as well. Watching Carl Schlacht on that number 8 Speed Farm HHI back ride. Oh, look at the lean angle just behind him. That might have been Travis Wurz trying to take it all the way down to the wire, but looks like Schlacht going to be able to hang on to it. And talk about hanging on to it. Looked like some dark clouds there behind us, but just in time, the final checkered flag of the day waves.
It's been great weather, great racing, and it's been an incredible time here at Hastings. And thankfully, we haven't had any kind of moisture on the track during our racing, even though we had it between days. At least it was great for the time that we were on the track.
I love it. Cody Gilmore waving to the fans. Let's take a look at how our final race of the day went with our Alpine Stars race replay. So the green flag flew for the first time, and we had what was without a doubt probably the most exciting race so far of the day. Two nose-to-nose battles as far as Jake Masters and Drew Jankard going, and then you had Clay Braun and Danny Spina going at it as well. They all shuffled for positions. Braun was really looking dicey. He was trying to make a charge, not around just Danny Spina, but towards the front as well. You could tell he wanted to get into the fight with Masters and Jankard as well. We talked about 9 through 13. this was going to be the one to watch. There it is, turn 12. That was a little foreshadowing. Jake Masters getting a little bit of huckabuck, if you will, getting tossed around on that machine. He was able to hang on to it, and then we locked in on this battle between Danny Spina and Clay Braun. Spina had made the pass, Braun got him back, and then watch the center of your screen. Just like that, blink and you miss it. Braun going for a ride, and not the ride he was hoping to have, as he went down and down hard. So our thoughts and prayers with the 951 of Youngblood Clay Braun. Hopefully going to be all right on that FDR racing machine. And boy, we had to, do a little bit of cleanup, get the debris off track. We got back to racing, and things picked up right where they left off. Gilmore, Masters, and Jankard, 1, 2, and 3. Danny Spina just a little off touch from that top 3 battle, but hanging tough in that 4th place spot. Tony Salima going to round out the top 5. A quiet but consistent day for the number 12 of Tony Salima, but all eyes were on this gentleman right here, the 374 of Cody Gilmore, making Uncle Slider proud and sliding to another race win in your Andrews Performance Products Bagger GP class. Just behind him, Jake Masters crosses the line in the number 2 spot, grabbing the win in Pirelli Pro Stock. Jankard, yes, might have gotten beat in class, but much better of a performance here today. As we take a look now at our Alpine Stars top 10, it is Cody Gilmore, Jake Masters, Drew Jankard, Danny Spina, and Tony Salima. Your top 5, Brendan Foley, Craig Braymiller, Tyler Elliott, Tony Tucker, and Jake McGuire. Your top 10 here in our final race of the afternoon.